I'm a taxpayer. You're a taxpayer. And if we're essentially, ultimately, paying the salaries of our 650,000 state employees, state workers, isn't that incredible to think of that? Public sector workers in this state, 650,000, I believe is the number. If we're paying a salary, you know what? I want to know that they're clean. I don't want a bunch of whacked out, drugged out workers. I want people who are clean. I think I have a right to that. But Rick Scott's executive order, I think, is in some real trouble here. And I want to know which side you come down on this. I mean, I really like the idea. I think that's great. And hey, if you're clean, you have nothing to worry about. 4 times a year, a random basis, drug tests come your way. You pass them, you keep right on going. You don't let the door hit you on the way out. We'll get somebody in here who is clean. We're not going to have the taxpayers, paying for people who've got drug problems. We shouldn't have to do that. And I think Rick Scott's absolutely right. I think it's an absolutely great idea on so many levels. But I don't think the executive order is going to stand. And it has to do with the Constitution of the United States. 407-916-5400. We're going to talk about this and how you feel. I'd be particularly interested, those of you who are state employees, how you feel about this executive order signed by your governor who says, I want to know who's on drugs and who's not. And we're going to know because we're going to initiate random drug testing. 407-916-5400. How do you feel about that? I'm not a state worker. I don't have a problem with it. I have to believe, because I don't use drugs, that if I were a state worker, I'd say, you know what, for the greater good and for the folks who ultimately pay the freight, the taxpayers who are paying my salary, I'm just fine with it. And I want the druggies weeded out of the workforce. 407-916-5400. Now, here's the problem with this. It's the Fourth Amendment to our cherished Constitution. And here in the relevant part is what it says. The Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And there is some legal history in this regard, as the ACLU points out, and its objection to the Rick Scott executive order. 407-916-5400 if you want to get in on this, because it's an important subject. In 2004, there was a federal court ruling here in Florida that the Department of Juvenile Justice was violating the Fourth Amendment by ordering random drug testing. Okay? So there is precedent here. The courts in general have found that random testing of government workers who are not in jobs that affect public safety or security amounts to a search by the government, and an unreasonable search, and that people essentially have the right to be left alone, which is really what the Fourth Amendment was put in there by our founding fathers for. You just can't come into our house because you think you don't like what we're doing or we might be doing something illegal. You can't just come into my house and you can't just take my stuff. And so there is legal precedent here. My prediction, this thing will be struck down by the courts, this executive order, and Rick Scott will not be able to institute random drug testing, even though I think it's a good idea in many ways, of the state government workforce. This thing's going down based on the Fourth Amendment, and there is legal precedent. I'm not a lawyer, but it's pretty obvious to me when you have precedent like we have here from that federal court ruling in 2004. Unreasonable search and seizure, goodbye executive order. Having said that, Rick Scott seems like a pretty bold guy, but a pretty smart guy to me, too, and it's hard for me to imagine that his fine new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, at least didn't say, wait a minute here, Rick, what isn't going to fly? Are you kidding me? The courts are not going to let you do that. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you. Now, here I am caught between the United States Constitution, and I'll always come down on the side of the Constitution that I think is going to strike this order down, and the fact that I think random drug testing for a workforce where I'm helping to pay their salary is absolutely something I want. That's where I am. Where are you? No better place to start than with a public employee out of Brevard County. Mike, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bud. Yes, I just wanted to share with you that we have already got a drug testing, procedure in place before you can get even hired on.
That's at the county level?
Yeah, it's a city, one of the cities.
Okay.
And you get sent for a drug test prior to being hired, and then if you are ever on an accident on the job, the first thing they do is, as long as it's not life-threatening, you get sent for a drug test immediately.
How do you feel about it?
I have no problem with it. I mean, look, if we're going to be, paid with taxpayer dollars,
yeah,
no different than the military. I mean, the military has a zero drug use policy too.
I'm really glad you see it that way, Mike. It's interesting that has either not been challenged in court or survived a challenge in court. Very interesting. Mark is a state employee. He's next on the 50,000-watt front porch. Whether you work for the state or not, I want to know where you come down on this. Do you come down on the side of the courts who say random drug testing amounts to a Fourth Amendment violation of unreasonable search and seizure, or do you come down on the side of Rick Scott who says, come on, the taxpayers have a right to have a drug-free workforce that they're paying for? 407-916-5400, straight to the phones as we continue. 712, checking real-time traffic and weather together on the twos.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, both directions of I-4 still moving up to speed, starting to get a bit busy westbound from the Lake Mary area into Orlando, although still moving along well. In northbound lanes along the Greenway, still blocked from an earlier accident at University Boulevard. You can use Dean or Goldenrod instead. If you're going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Morello. Coming up in your 7:30 news, Casey Anthony's attorneys returning to court. A report says delaying commuter rail in Orlando is quite costly, and more went wrong than right when it came to equipment in the Gulf oil disaster.
Hey, spring cleaning. It's that time of the year. Now, who's going to clean your home or your place? You want the very best. And with Stanley Steamer of Central Florida, I'll tell you from our personal experience, you're going to get it. It doesn't get any better than Stanley Steamer of Central Florida. Headed by the boss, Mark Gellner, the terrific staff and the crews he'll send to your home or your office, as good as it can be. You put them to the test, cleaning your carpet, your tile and grout, your upholstery. They're the industry leader all the way around. You put them to the test and have them out and ask them for the Bud Special. Immediately when you call them on the phone, you'll get 20% off the bill. 1-800-STEAMER. 1-800-STEAMER. Call for the Bud Special. Check online, StanleySteamer.com.
Traffic on Air Online brought to you by Gatorland.
Hey y'all, it's Bubba. Come on out to Gatorland and see our great shows and animals. The Florida Resident Senior Special is $9.99 now through the end of March, only at Gatorland in Orlando. For more information, call 407-855-5496 or go to Gatorland.com.
Join Scott Duncan, host of Your Health Matters, and special guest Orlando Urology Associates this Saturday at 5 as they discuss issues and treatments to better urologic health. Call in with your questions this Saturday at 5 for Your Health Matters right here on 540 WFLA.
I'm Mark Nation of the Nation Law Firm. If you have questions concerning a car accident, contact me at my personal email address for guidance. My email is mark@nationlaw.com. The Nation Law Firm, main office, Longwood.
Does your keychain say you're hardworking and dependable? It will when you add the keys to a Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition. And if you add them during Chevy Truck Month, they'll also say you're smart because you'll get a trailering package, heavy-duty automatic locking rear differential, and a great deal.
As part of AutoNation, an auto retailer that sold over 200,000 new cars last year, Courtesy can do some pretty cool things, like give you a money-back guarantee on every vehicle we sell, new or used, so you get the peace of mind of your money back. No questions asked. And right now at Courtesy Acura, we're getting ready for the all-new 2012 TLs by offering 2011 Acura TLs for $329 a month, 0 down payment. That's the Acura TL for $329 a month for a 36-month lease, plus first payment, tax, tag, title, and $695 acquisition fee with approved credit. Or get low 0% financing on new Acuras. Hurry to Courtesy Acura on Reinhardt Road, just south of the Seminole Town Center Mall. Because at $329 a month with 0 down payment, these TLs are going to go fast. We guarantee it.
Who are you going to call? Call Courtesy!
Go to courtesy-acura.com. Courtesy Acura, open for service 7 days a week.
If you run a business, you know your financial results are directly linked to the performance of your people. Hello friends, Jim Nance here. Every team wants to operate at peak performance, and now you can with the proven workforce optimization solution from Insperity. This powerful combination of HR and business solutions is the most comprehensive business performance offering in the marketplace, delivering administrative relief, better benefits, reduced liabilities, and a systematic way to improve productivity. And since your business is like no other, this solution is customized to fit your unique company needs. If you're ready to make your company run better, grow faster, and make more money, call 800-465-3800 or visit Insperity.com and meet with your Insperity Business Performance Advisor today. It's what we do. Insperity, inspiring business performance.
This portion of 540 WFLA is brought to you by Ace Plumbing, Electrical, and Air Conditioning. AceSolvesItAll.com.
Black Beauty sitting right down there in the parking lot waiting for the Bud Man, looking like it's doing 100 miles an hour standing still. My incredible Acura RL top-of-the-line sedan. Wow, what engineering, what styling, and what luxury and what power. And I'm test driving it through my friends at Fountain Acura, and I want to recommend you get on down there and test drive it too and check out their 7-passenger Acura MDX SUV. Right now, incredible deals at Acura. Financing rates for well-qualified buyers like you as low as 0.9% on the 2011 RLs and MDXs at Fountain Acura. And if you're driving an Acura now and you love it and you want to upgrade your current model to a similar 2011 Acura model at Fountain, listen to this. No money down and you get a similar monthly payment. That's incredible. And so is Fountain Acura in every respect. You go check them out. You'll see how special they are. South OBT, just south of the Florida Mall. Online, fountainacura.com.
Calling it a life-changing experience?
The world's leading light
would be an understatement.
Is building a new tomorrow.
Call 407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
Rick Scott's executive order mandating random drug testing for all state employees in the best interest of the taxpayers who are ultimately paying their salaries. I believe it's unconstitutional based on the Fourth Amendment, and it will be shot down. We're talking about it. Here's Mark in Orlando, a state employee. Mark, thanks for hanging on. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say on this.
Well, thanks for having me, Bud. First, I think it's important to note that government, I think, always equals leadership. No matter where you are, and when I think the employees of leadership of the government choose to break the laws of the government, there should be a consequence. I had a buddy I was talking about this yesterday with at the office, and when he was in college, he said, he used to smoke a lot of weed and do that kind of thing in college, but he realized at some point in time he was going to have to quit doing that because he couldn't maintain a real job and be accountable for his actions on the job.
So you're a state employee and you're okay. You say, bring it on, Rick. I'm ready to go on random drug testing.
I would 100% agree. But you know what, I also would have to say that I don't think it's going to have you're not going to find a lot of people, I think, at least in my office, that are testing positive. The guys I work with are really good. I mean, we're really efficient with our time, and we really work hard, and we're not into doing drugs and stuff. We're into we do research, with fisheries. So we really want to get our jobs done. We really love our jobs and take it seriously. So I don't think it's going to be a thing where you're going to scare a lot of people. I think what you're trying to do is just say, hey, you know what? Just kind of reestablishing that positive influence and that positive leadership that government is supposed to have.
And raise the bar. Raise the bar. Let's have some standards and let's enforce them. Thank you, Mark, very much. Gordy on the line out of, you're a City of Orlando employee Jeff has on the screen. Let's talk about this, Gordy.
Yeah, I'm retired from the City of Orlando. I retired as a police officer, and 6 months before I retired, I got called in. And they said, hey, go get your drug test. And we've been doing random for a long time, so if it's unconstitutional, the city of Orlando has been violating the Constitution.
Well, no, apparently it's not, which is interesting. When you have people who are involved in safety and security, and by definition, as a policeman, you most certainly would be, then they have found it to be a reasonable search issue and not a violation of the Constitution. But for everybody else, the courts, there's precedent for them ruling that it is an unreasonable search.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing. I have no problem with it. None of us ever had a problem with it. And if we catch a bad apple, hey, out the door.
There you go. This is good. Right. I'm liking this, and nice to have Gordy on the line. I don't believe I've had him call before. And that may be the first Gordy I've had in 8 years doing BHL. So the governor does a good thing. He orders random drug testing for state employees on behalf of the taxpayers, because we're paying their salaries. We want people who are clean. We don't want people who are strung out and whacked out. But it's unconstitutional. Should it be struck down, or do you hope somehow it survives? Where are you on this? 407-916-5400. Are you worried about a constitutional slippery slope if this executive order stands? 407-916-5400 on the phones in 60 seconds right now at 7:22. The latest on what's going on out there. Real-time traffic and weather together on the twos.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, both directions of I-4 still moving up to speed, starting to get a bit busy westbound from the Lake Mary area into Orlando, although still moving along well. And northbound lanes along the Greenway still blocked from an earlier accident at University Boulevard. You can use Dean or Goldenrod instead. If you're going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Headed for a hot one today, partly sunny and 88 now, 65 degrees in Orlando. On the road, Larry joining the Budman on the 50,000-watt front porch. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You bet.
Hey, I think if Rick Scott goes ahead and just orders it, blanket, yeah, I think it's got some constitutional issues. However, if it's worded such that as a condition of employment, you voluntarily agree, or you agree to voluntarily submit to the random testing, then there's no constitutional issue. And a state worker, if you don't have a right to work for the state, it's a choice.
That's really interesting. I'd like to lawyer that one up. That's an interesting approach to this, Larry.
Well, it's kind of the same thing. The thing that made me think about it is if you're driving along, you get stopped for suspicion of DWI. You've got a choice not to take a breathalyzer.
Causes you all kinds of trouble if you don't, though.
That's right. And so the same kind of thing. You want to be state workers, this is what you sign. I voluntarily submit.
Thank you, Larry, very much. Appreciate that input. Jim's weighing in from Orlando on this. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Good morning, Bud. How about yourself?
Excellent. Go ahead, sir.
State employees would start at the top with Mr. Scott himself, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How about the
leg? Oh, it would be a great example. I mean, I can't imagine he would resist that. I mean, the hypocrisy of that would be no, he'd have to submit to this.
And how about the rest of the elected officials in the House up there?
Works for me.
How about down at the local level, our mayors and city councilmen?
Works for me, although I believe the executive order only covers current state employees and prospective new hires.
Sure.
I mean, I like it, yes, but I don't think it's provided for in the executive order. I really think this is a good idea, and anyone who is straight has nothing to fear, and anyone who's on drugs, we don't want them on the workforce. But I really do think there are Fourth Amendment issues here.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, start with the president. Bring it all the way down.
Okay, but again, it's a state executive order here. I know where you're going with that. Yeah, but from Rick Scott on down to Mike Herodopoulos and Dean Cannon and all the rest of the House and Senate members, et cetera, the cabinet across the board, absolutely. And they ought to boldly take the lead, and they ought to make it abundantly clear how completely comfortable they are with being a part of this.
Leadership by example.
Amen to that. Here's Sal in Maitland. Hey, Sal, go ahead.
Good morning, Budman. It's your cable guy. How are you today on this beautiful Thursday morning?
It's my table guy?
That's your cable guy.
Oh, my cable guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were here to set the table because Jenna wants breakfast. She really perked up. Go ahead. The cable guy. Sal, you're a good man.
Thank you, Bud. I agree with this drug testing. Most businesses have a blanket coverage. I know when I signed up for my job, drug-free workplace, random drug testing. So being unconstitutional, you're already made aware of it when you start a job. I mean, even at Burger King and McDonald's, they have notes. This is a drug-free workplace. So for state officials, I don't really see a problem with it.
All right, Sal, thank you, and nice hearing from you, my friend. Cable's working great, by the way. It's Bright House. I love it. I got to have my Bright House. Here's John in Orlando. John?
Hey, Bud, how you doing?
Very well, and you?
Oh, fantastic.
Good.
I mean, in the military, you're drug tested. Any other private sector, you can be drug tested. I just don't understand why the public people think that they get away with absolutely everything. They don't have to be drug tested. They get this big, great pension. They don't have to pay into it.
But I got to tell you, John, I haven't had any pushback on this right now. I don't think from anybody this morning. And I've had people who are in the public sector saying, yeah, that's fine, absolutely right.
Well, then let's do it.
I've been real proud of the responses I've got in that regard. Thank you so much. You think this is a hot topic? How about abortion? This landmark session of the legislature, there are nearly 20 abortion bills that are progressing, and many of them may actually become part of Florida law. The most controversial we're talking about with you as we continue. It would mandate that any woman get an ultrasound in the first trimester of pregnancy before she can get an abortion. You support that? I absolutely do. But the pro-choice crowd is coming unglued. We're going to get into this. Mandating an ultrasound in the first trimester. It's sailed through a committee in Tallahassee. I think it's headed for the governor's desk ultimately and his signature. And I support it. How about you? And ladies, because, hey, this is all about you. Priority for the women who call the Budman. Where do you stand on this important piece of legislation? 407-916-5400. Priority for the gals, Jeff, on the screening, if you will. 728 on the 50,000-watt front porch here on BHL.
Need a mortgage for a limited time? No application or pre-approval fee. Plus no points, no PMI, no tax escrow, and no broker's fees.
Your hometown bank, Trust Co.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, boss, have you seen that TV commercial with the National Alarm Company? You know, the one where the home gets broken into with the mom and daughter at home?
Oh, yeah, that guy's a creep.
Yeah. Hey, but did you notice that instead of calling the police, the alarm company calls the lady instead?
Oh, yeah. Her and her daughter could have been killed while she was talking to the operator.
Yeah, I know. Now, if they had Safe Touch, the two-way communicator would have let the operator hear what was going on, and they'd have called the police right away.
You know, I was in a fine mood until you mentioned Safe Touch.
Yeah, well, you're not going to like this, boss. The latest edition of the Crooks R Us newsletter said the average response time for Safe Touch monitoring is 14 seconds.
14? Oh, I hate Safe Touch.
That's right, our Safe Touch two-way communicator saves lives and prevents property loss every day. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, owner of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one, and I mean no one, protects your family better than Safe Touch. So call Safe Touch today. Systems and monitoring are still less than $1 a day.
Call 407-331-0335 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Did you know that technology today can allow mom or dad to age in their home with dignity? GrandCareFlorida.com will monitor your parents' activities using technology. Face it, mom and dad were always there for you, and GrandCare Florida is there to help you help them. Contact GrandCare Florida now and sleep better tonight knowing that mom and dad are happy and healthy. GrandCareFlorida.com. Technology for independent living. 1-888-375-8009 or online, GrandCareFlorida.com.
On August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made history with his I Have a Dream speech. Now, exactly 48 years later, he's doing it again. Chevrolet is honored to celebrate the unveiling of the Martin Luther King Jr. National Memorial, the first and only to be built on the mall in tribute of a man of peace and a person of color. History is made in a moment. Be a part of it. this August 28th in Washington, D.C. Awaken his spirit in all of us. Get details at buildthedream.org.
Join Dave Ramsey for an empowerment seminar, From Surviving to Thriving, Strategies for Long-Term Success. See Dave Ramsey, the financial expert, Thursday, March 31st at the Orlando World Center World Marriott at 4 p.m. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to this seminar with special guest Dave Ramsey. Now, Dave Ramsey brings his Financial Peace University to the Pastors and Leadership Conference. To register or for more information, visit pastorsandleadership.org.
I'm Eric Schreck, Regional President of Trustco Bank. You can trust the strength of Trustco Bank. Over 100 years old, we're financially strong. Didn't take or need a government bailout. Get modern convenience with old school service. Come home to Trustco Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Bud Henninger Live continues with news from the Fox Orlando News Center on 540 WFLA.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, seeing that slow-building traffic pickup westbound along I-4 between Lake Mary Boulevard and to Maitland Boulevard. Crews still working to clear up that accident northbound along the Greenway at University Boulevard. Northbound lanes are blocked. You can use Dean Road or Goldenrod instead. If you are going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Traffic reports on air online brought to you by AskTheSeal.com.
Do you know who has access to your family and valuables? AskTheSeal.com verifies license, insurance, and performs criminal and sex offender checks on employees. Find a company with the seal of approval on AskTheSeal.com. It's free.
Car wreck on your cell phone, dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox.
Calling it a life-changing experience?
Yes, he is the answer to the world's ills today.
Would be an understatement. Call 407-916-5400. Toll free 866-916-5400.
Good Thursday morning. If you're a regular on BHL, you know I'm a big pro-life guy, all right? And I fight for the rights of the unborn. I also fight to keep government from intruding in all aspects of our lives. And with this abortion bill relating to ultrasounds that is sailing through the legislature in Tallahassee, it brings some of these principles I truly believe in into conflict with one another. Let me tell you that under a bill brought by Republican Representative Elizabeth Porter of Lake City, all women seeking an abortion in Florida would be required to have an ultrasound. And that would be in the first trimester. Right now it is state law to have an ultrasound in the second and third trimesters, but this bill would extend that and make it mandatory in the first trimester, which of course is when these abortion decisions largely are made. Porter says the bill's about women understanding the choice they are making. I say it's about giving them one last chance to take a look at that living soul within them and really think hard about a true life and death decision that once they make it, they cannot change. A lot of women live with awful, lifetime, paralyzing regret over an abortion they had that they wish they could take back. And that's what this is. That's what this is for. I don't believe the motivation is government intrusion. The bill would require that an ultrasound be provided for all women seeking an abortion regardless of trimester to determine the gestational age of the fetus prior to a woman giving informed consent to having an abortion. The bill provides the woman with an option to decline to view the ultrasound image. It isn't, look at it, look at it. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to look at the image of the life inside you. You can decline that after you're informed of your right to view them. And it provides for certain exceptions, but I don't want to get too bogged down in all of the verbiage here. Planned Parenthood, of course, is coming unglued. They say this is another challenge to Roe v. Wade and a woman's right to have control over her own body and decisions related to pregnancies, to have a child or not to have a child, to abort a pregnancy. That this just makes it harder for women to have an abortion? I couldn't agree with that more. I think that's exactly what it should do, and I think it is the best thing about this. Why in the world should there be any resistance to mandating an ultrasound in the first trimester of pregnancy? So if the woman wants to make the decision, she has all the information you can give her. And if she can't feel that baby yet, by golly, she has an opportunity to see that baby. And maybe the weight of this life or death decision that she is struggling with ultimately crystallizes for her in a way that she can see and relate to. And maybe she makes another decision. And maybe a child she will ultimately cherish and raise and love and be loved by will live. And if that mother is not to raise that child will have an opportunity for life, which it has no say in whatsoever. I see no downside here whatsoever. None. I don't want to hear about this as, oh, you're trying to undo Roe v. Wade. Is it a level of government intrusion? I guess so, but it's on behalf of those who have no voice, the unborn. And in that basis, I'm just fine with a little layer of government. Where else is that going to come from? Lives will be saved. This is a life and death decision. You need all the information you can possibly have, and a first trimester ultrasound is an important part of that. That's me. Particularly, I want to hear from you gals, because obviously you're the one who give birth to these babies. Or not. Linda in Fern Park, good morning. It's 7:40.
Hey, Bud. I support this bill. In fact, I don't think it goes far enough.
Really?
Yeah, because I looked at the actual bill online, and the women are required to have an ultrasound, but they're not required to look at it.
Right, I pointed that out. You're absolutely right.
And I don't think that goes far enough. I think they should have to look at it. But I had
All right, well, I think you may well be right, but I think they were afraid they couldn't get that one through, or there might somehow be constitutional issues related to the heavy hand of government or whatever, freedoms, etc.
Well, that's just, you need to compare it to the South Dakota law, which recently passed, the strictest law in the land for abortions. But anyway, I don't think it goes far enough. I had to have surgery a while back, and I was required to watch a video about the surgery and the side effects and, possible things that could happen, risks, and the whole procedure. And, the video lasted probably 10 minutes, and I had to sign a paper that I actually watched it. So, I mean, this is a surgical procedure, and it really upsets me that the whole abortion industry gets a pass on, on informing. It's informed consent, and I feel like women are being cheated because they're not being properly informed.
All right, thank you, Linda, very much. Listen, you can enjoy some anonymity, gals, particularly on the radio, and guys, you can weigh in on this as well. It's important for all of us as a society to deal with this issue of abortion. You've got a certain degree of anonymity on the radio. If you really believe that this bill is threatening to a woman's right to choose, that it is an attempt to ultimately undo Roe v. Wade, I want to hear that. I want to hear somebody make a credible case here that a woman should not be required to have a first trimester ultrasound before deciding to end a life within her. I really want to hear somebody who fervently believes this is a bad bill. 407-916-5400, 742 on BHL.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, seeing that slow-building traffic pickup westbound along I-4 between Lake Mary Boulevard into Maitland Boulevard. Crews still working to clear up that accident northbound along the Greenway at University Boulevard. Northbound lanes are blocked. You can use Dean Road or Goldenrod instead. If you are going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Morello. Coming up in your 8 o'clock news, dozens of firefighters work to keep a blaze away from homes in Volusia County. A Florida congresswoman lauding the one-year anniversary of national health care, while Governor Rick Scott takes aim at public hospitals.
You know, we're bringing Dr. Kronhaus, my heart doctor, on for his weekly house call. Among other things, he's going to talk about congestive heart failure that ultimately did in Liz Taylor, what that is, how widespread it is, how you might know whether you have it, and what can be done. So stay tuned. I mean, nobody knows cardiology like Lake Cardiology's Dr. Ken Kronhaus, and that's the home of the Bud Scan that he brought to Central Florida, pioneering this cutting-edge piece of technology before anybody else had it, because he knew this Bud Scan technology could reveal problems inside people's heart that they might have no symptoms for and might not have been revealed by any other test. And he saved my life with what he calls the Bud Scan in my honor. And thousands of you are alive today because you listened to me, called Dr. K and his staff at Lake Cardiology, and got a life-saving call to action when you got the Bud Scan. It's a wonderful thing to be a part of this, but my enduring frustration is that so many of you never make the call. Trust me, you want to know what shape your heart's in. You got a lot of living to do, and you can find out definitively. It starts with a phone call to Lake Cardiology, just asking them if the Bud Scan might be right for you. It's not right for everybody, but it might be right for you. And it's your heart, it's your life. It's got to be worth a phone call. Tell them the Bud Man sent you when you call Lake Cardiology about the Bud Scan. 352-735-1400, 352-735-1400. More on the website, keyword Bud Scan.
Traffic on Air Online brought to you by Subway. Build your better breakfast at Subway. Try an irresistible steak, egg, and cheese with toasty tomato and Chipotle Southwest sauce on tasty flatbread. Only at Subway. Eat fresh.
Half off Dickey's Barbecue Pit in Oviedo. ODealsDaily.com.
As part of AutoNation, America's largest automotive retailer, Courtesy Ford can do big things, like give you a money-back guarantee on every vehicle we sell, new and used. So you get the peace of mind of your money back, no questions asked. And right now at Courtesy Ford, drive new F-150s for up to $10,000 off MSRP. That's a new 2010 F-150 Super Crew with chrome package for up to $10,000 off MSRP. Plus, qualified buyers get 0% financing for 60 months on F-150. It's just $1667 per month for $1,000 financed. If you want an F-150 Super Crew for up to $10,000 off MSRP with a money-back guarantee, hurry to Courtesy Ford on Wayside Drive across from the Seminole Town Center Mall. Because at up to $10,000 off MSRP, these F-150 Super Crews are going to go fast. We guarantee it.
Who are you going to call? Call Courtesy!
Go to CourtesyDealers.com. Courtesy Ford, open for service 7 days a week.
With Scott's 4-step annual program, growing a great lawn is simple. Each of the 4 bags is clearly labeled so you know what to apply and when to apply it. The program grows thicker, greener turf with 4 feedings a year and protects your lawn against crabgrass, weeds, and bugs. To plant grass seed this spring and prevent crabgrass, purchase the Scott's Step 1 for seeding instead of the regular Step 1. Get your Scott's annual program and Step 1 for seeding now and plant the seeds of a great lawn.
This is an urgent alert from the Lawn Desk. It is time to stop the disrespect. Dollarweed is dissing you and your lawn and doesn't think you're going to do anything about it. But Dollarweed has got another thing coming, thanks to Scott's Bonus S. Bonus S is created to kill lawn-invading dollarweed, and nothing gets in its way. At the same time, Bonus S gives your lawn a deep Scott's feeding, so it will grow thick, strong, and barefootable. Don't make the mistake of getting one of those bargain brands which contain stuff like sand and sawdust, which doesn't do anything for your lawn. It only makes weeds laugh. You need Scott's Bonus S. Every granule is a combination of 100% food and dollarweed fighting power, so that smirk on dollarweed's face won't be there for long. While you're at it, teach those evil low-life fire ants a lesson they won't live long enough to forget with Scott's Bonus S Max. It takes care of both fire ants and dollarweed. That concludes this Lawn Desk Alert.
This portion of 540 WFLA is brought to you by TaxFreeRetirementSystem.com.
How'd you like to save hundreds, maybe even over $1,000 before you even start your workday? It happens every day for my listeners who connect to Florida insurance specialists and their amazing new technology that allows them to save big money on their homeowners insurance and learn what their savings are in minutes. They go shopping over 30 A-rated companies to get you the very best deal, and they give you the answer in minutes. It's all through their website, ChallengeMyRate.com. Look what happened for one of my listeners out of Palm Bay. How about this? They got switched from State Farm to Security First Insurance and saved $1,100 a year on homeowners. You got to try this. It's your money. Go to ChallengeMyRate.com, ChallengeMyRate.com, or call them, Florida Insurance Specialist, 407-805-0200.
Rush Limbaugh.
Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz was interviewed by Seattle Times business reporter Melissa Allison on the turnaround of his company. Since Starbucks was a vocal proponent of Obamacare and Schultz was invited to the White House during the whole tussle, Ms. Allison asked how it's worked out. His answer started with spin. Well, there's no plan that would be a perfect plan, he said, but the intent of the bill and the heartfelt commitment to ensure the uninsured is the right approach. But then he added, I think as the bill is currently written, and if it was going to land in 2014 under the current guidelines, the pressure on small businesses because of the mandate, that's just too great. A simple why from the reporterette would have been in order, seeking an explanation from the CEO why Obamacare is a threat to small business, but there was no follow-up. Still, this is stunning. Here we are, a year later, one of the most visible proponents of Obamacare is openly saying that the pressure it'll place on small business will be too great to bear if it is implemented. Now, I don't want to be too hard on Ms. Allison. Perhaps she thought Mr. Schultz's answer said it all. Or perhaps the Seattle Times didn't want to make a big deal of his admission. But one thing is clear. Aside from being unconstitutional, Obamacare is a loser. And even Obama's latte-drinking, latte-making supporters can no longer hide it.
for by Stansbury & Associates Investment Research.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself.
You can find the video at www.endofamerica44.com. That's endofamerica44.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica44.com. That's endofamerica44.com.
Okay, we're back. This bill is sailing through the Florida legislature, and it would mandate an ultrasound in the first trimester for any woman before that woman is allowed to go on and choose to have an abortion. I support it. You've heard my stance on it. I've called for opposing points of view. I think we may have exactly what I'm looking for on the line. In Karen from Longwood. Karen, thank you for listening and calling.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
I totally disagree with the bill. I think the woman may be given an option to have the sonogram, but I don't think it's anybody's business but her own. We have too many young girls having these babies, and they don't know what to do with them. They ultimately, a lot of them end up neglected, abused, and worse yet, dead because they aren't equipped to take care of children. So I think your advocacy should be to help the children that are here already, that are being abused and neglected and uncared for by these young mothers that don't have a clue what it takes to be a parent.
Wow. So death is the better alternative?
If that's what you want to call it, yes.
Really? Yes. I wonder if it were possible to interview the fetus, the living human being inside a woman.
It's not a human
How do you think? What isn't? Really? It's not?
Take it and put it in a petri dish and see if it lives.
Wait a minute. It's not a human being?
No, sir, it's not.
Really?
It's a fetus.
No heart, no arms, no legs, no nose, no ears, no face, no brain, no feet.
This is where y'all are going to try to guilt girls into having babies, and it's wrong.
To guilt girls into having babies?
Right, because you're
put them up for adoption. There are people who are screaming for kids to love that they can't have on their own, for crying out loud, Karen.
That should not be the job of a 16-year-old girl that made a mistake and got pregnant.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's what you think.
That's exactly what I think, and that's what I'm going to call Parenthood for right now and ask if they need any help. And
are you worried that this is a threat to Roe v. Wade? Is that where you're coming from?
I could care less about Roe v. Wade. I care about young girls that make a mistake that are being guilted by peer pressure and stations and things like this that convince them it's murder and that they must go have a baby. And now
it is murder.
It is not murder.
It is murder. It's a human being, and you make a decision to kill the human being. The difference is the human being happens to be inside you versus outside of you, Karen. You and I can argue that all day long. You'll never make me see it another way. I'm sorry. Here's Mary in West Volusia.
Hi, good morning, Bud.
Morning.
I'm remaining anonymous because, and I'd like to direct this to Karen, has she ever been to an abortion clinic? Because I had the pleasure of going with a friend of mine after trying to talk her out of it. It's upsetting me even to talk about it. It was the worst experience of my life. Guards they were armed with guns. People standing out in front, screaming at you at the top of their lungs. It was horrible. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Where are you in this piece of legislation mandating an ultrasound first trimester?
I don't know what they do now, but they were able to determine exactly how far along the girl is. So I don't know if it's a sonogram or what, but anyway, it was awful.
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. I appreciate even Karen's phone call. I truly do. I truly do. This is a tough issue. There's no doubt about it. Wrenching change right now. We've lost a Hollywood legend, Elizabeth Taylor. More on what she succumbed to with Dr. Kronhaus on the house call right after the 8 o'clock news. But on the Budman's Brainbuster question, where we lighten up and try to give away some prizes to you folks who hop on the line, I have an Elizabeth Taylor question. 407-916-5400. We're playing the game in just a second here. Toll free, 1-866-916-5400. And Elizabeth Taylor, dead at age 79. Let's check traffic and weather together right now.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, eastbound I-4 seeing our usual morning delays from OBT as you make your way through downtown. Also slow moving westbound along the interstate approaching 434 into Maitland Boulevard. And westbound along the 408 is crawling along from Dean Road into Goldenrod. No problems along the Greenway or 528. If you're going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Warm, 88 into sunny skies today, now 66 here in Orlando. What are we playing for in the Brainbuster, Jen?
Hey, we have a pair of tickets to the second annual wine stock at Uptown Altamont Crane's Roost, presented by Trustco Bank. Fun fact, I'm going to be there.
That's April 2nd.
Be.
I'm going to be on the West Coast.
Yes, so I will be filling in for you.
Fantastic. Wine stock's going to be better than ever. We've got tickets. And 407-916-5400. If you're waiting and you're getting a busy signal, wait for a wrong answer in the buzzer and then grab an open line at 407-916-5400. Liz Taylor was married 8 times. Her first husband's famous last name is on thousands of buildings worldwide. What's the name? Liz Taylor's first husband's famous last name. You see it worldwide. What is it? Let's go to line 1 on the Brainbuster.
Rockefeller?
No, it's not Rockefeller. 407-916-5400. You don't see that name on buildings. Let's go to line 2 on the Brainbuster.
Todd.
What?
Todd.
Todd?
Yeah.
No. You're talking about Mike Todd? No. The name is on buildings worldwide. You see it. It's on several buildings in the Orlando area. Line 3.
I don't know. Burton?
No. No. And it's not SunTrust. Let's go to line 4.
It's not Hilton, is it?
Yes, it is Hilton. Conrad Hilton Jr. was her first husband, first of 8, the Hilton Hotel chain. He was a part of the Hilton family. Way to go. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Woohoo! This is Rob from Orlando.
Woohoo! We're excited for you. Stay on the line. You're going to Wine Stock. Congratulations, my friend.
Another happy contest winner on WFLA.
Liz Taylor dead at age 79. The official cause of death, then she had multiple health problems for many years, as you probably know. Congestive heart failure. A lot of people succumb to congestive heart failure. What is congestive heart failure? How widespread is it? How do you know if you might be headed for congestive heart failure? And what, if God forbid that's your situation, can modern medicine do for you? Nobody will know the answers to that more thoroughly than my heart doctor, Ken Kronhaus, and he is next with his weekly house call here on BHL. It's 7:59.
Motorcycle owners, here's something to stash in your saddlebags. Geico could save you money on motorcycle insurance, and here's how easy it is. You call Geico and speak to a specialized motorcycle agent who gives you a free rate quote. If you're like thousands of other riders, the rate is less than what you pay now. And before you can say cha-ching, the agent also tells you about 24/7 emergency road service for less than $1 a month. Savings. It's what we do for people. Call today for a free rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Is trying to sneak out of a really boring meeting wearing tap shoes a bad idea?
Year-to-date, same-store sales growth has increased 2.9%. That's a reflection of aggressive... Ben, where are you going?
Nowhere. Headed back to my seat now.
Switch to Geico now and you could save hundreds on your car insurance. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local office.
WFLF Pine Hills, Orlando. WTKS FM HD2 Cocoa Beach. We report, you decide. 540 WFLA. 540 WFLA. Local news from the Fox Orlando News Center.
One trailer and 2 cars were destroyed in the fire, and fire crews were on the scene this morning, making sure to keep it out. Having affordable health care without restrictions for everyone is something Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz takes personally. Wasserman Schultz says her life might be very different if she hadn't been insured when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. For me, as a breast cancer survivor, someone who literally went from one day being the healthiest person in the world to the next day being diagnosed with breast cancer after finding a lump in my breast at 41, I became a person with a pre-existing condition who potentially, if I lost my job tomorrow, would be uninsurable. It's been 1 year since the Affordable Health Care Act became law, but there are dozens of legal challenges, including one constitutional challenge being led by Florida with the backing of over 24 other states. Governor Rick Scott, who made millions running a private hospital company, is taking aim at Florida's public hospitals. Yesterday, he issued an executive order creating a commission on review of taxpayer-funded hospital districts to determine if it's in the public's best interest to continue having government-operated hospitals. The panel will be chaired by Dominic Calabro, president of the Florida Tax Watch, which is a self-styled budget watchdog group heavily supported by business interests. Scott's order says...
Hey, Dr. K, hang on.
The governor has found the present system encourages inefficiencies, high costs, and irrational business practices. Crossing fingers in Japan today as workers at the damaged nuclear power plant could possibly reactivate some of the containment systems. With external power now run into the 6 different reactors at Fukushima Daiichi, crews fighting to maintain control of the nuclear materials were able to get the lights on in at least one of the control rooms. Provided they don't have any problems and can verify the containment system's integrity, they could try to throw the switch today. That's been Evan Brown reporting from Osaka, Japan. The work was stopped yesterday when a new plume of black smoke was spotted coming from one reactor, assembly that forced a work shutdown and evacuation. 540 WFLA News Time 8:02. I'm Michelle Murillo. Get these stories and more at 540WFLA.com. Sports is coming up.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Road Traffic Center, eastbound I-4 seeing our usual morning delays from OBT as you make your way through downtown. Also slow moving westbound along the interstate approaching 434 into Maitland Boulevard. And westbound along the 408 is crawling along from Dean Road into Goldenrod. No problems along the Greenway or 528. If you're going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard, follow the signs to Universal Studios for free parking and free shuttles. They'll be running nonstop all day. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Traffic on Air Online, a service of the Seminole County Fair.
We're changing things up at this year's Seminole County Fair. It's 3 weekends of nonstop fair fun starting March 25th through April 10th. Open Thursdays through Sundays only, and admission and parking are free at the Seminole Town Center in Sanford. For details, see SeminoleCountyFair.com.
Half off Dickey's Barbecue Pit in Oviedo. ODealsDaily.com.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we're off to a great start this morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy and hot. We could actually be close to a record. The high today in the upper 80s, sunny 86 on Friday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Score with 540 WFLA Sports.
All good things must come to an end, and it did for UCF last night.
Quan Young for 3. Creighton, when they hit threes, very tough to beat. Right now they're hitting threes. Knights are down 13 early at 15-2.
Mark Daniels on 7:40 the game. The Knights were unable to dig out from that early deficit. They lost to Creighton 82-64 in the CBI semifinals. The Knights end their season with a 21-12 record. Tonight in New Orleans, the second-seed Florida Gators will try to slow down BYU's prolific guard Jimmer Fredette. It's the Southeast Regional semifinals in 540 WFLA with live Gator coverage tonight at 6:45. The Magic's winning streak has reached 4. Dwight Howard scored 33 points and grabbed 11 rebounds as the Magic beat the Knicks 111-99. Big Dwight wasn't entirely happy with the performance.
You know, our effort has to be a little bit better than it was tonight, and we have to be consistent.
Hito Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson each hit 4 of the Magic's 12 three-pointers. Out at Bay Hill, Tiger Woods tees off around 1 o'clock in the opening round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Woods' playing partners are last week's Transitions Championship winner Gary Woodland and Dustin Johnson. That's your sports update. I'm Tom Morgan on your home of the Gators, 540 WFLA.
Share your unique insight with the world.
Men are all idiots.
407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
Congestive heart failure listed as the official cause of death of legendary actress Elizabeth Taylor. Joining us now, my heart doctor from Lake Cardiology, Ken Cronhouse, to tell us all about this condition. Certainly not unique to Liz Taylor. Good morning to you, Doc. How are you? I'm sure that you deal with congestive heart failure in various stages every day at Lake Cardiology. Let's talk about it.